If we follow our dreams, where will they take us? We never really know, nor do we know who we'll meet along the way, or where, or why. Alan Baker traveled from Maine to Pennsylvania for a successful publishing career. With new dreams of politics and newspapers, Baker returned to Maine. He joined the Ellsworth American in 1986 under owner Russell Wiggin. In 1989, Wiggins made Baker newspaper publisher, then sold the paper to Baker. Baker says he and Wiggins built a great team, including another journalist with a great reputation, who was soon hired away. Years later, though, Baker and that journalist met at the Maine Seacoast mission. Baker offered to start the Mount Desert Islander if the other man would be the editor. Earl Brechlin said yes.
Back in 2001, the Barber Times had gone through several rapid changes of ownership, and I decided I really wanted to be part of an organization that would be more responsive and more connected to the local community. So I put some feelers out, and I got a call from Alan Baker. And we actually came down to the porch of the Seacoast mission with our brown bag lunches and looked out over the water and talked about what our vision for a new publication to serve Mount Desert Island could be. Well, from the beginning, the Mount Desert Islander, we desired to cover all the communities on Mount Desert Island. And having worked and reported in all those communities for many years, I saw the value in the issues that were challenging all the different communities, and for a publication that could really help the island see itself as an entity as well as a collection of individual towns.
Earl has done a marvelous job with this newspaper. It has become a symbol of this community here in Mount Desert Island. The Islander has been named the best small weekly newspaper in New England several times, and also was named the best small weekly in the country. So we're very proud of what has happened here. Earl has had a remarkable staff, and his leadership has resulted in this wonderful newspaper being here for now some 16 years, and it's going to be here for a long time to come.
I think the big thing with the Islander is providing a forum for people to share their ideas and to share their opinions, and so that all the voices on the island can be heard. Certainly as an editorial platform, the paper itself as a sovereign entity often shares its opinion on some possible directions and ways to go. But foremost, I think it has to be about what the people of this community are interested in. Well, I think all communities may have views of what other towns are like, but through the Islander, through a publication such as the Islander, we can make people see that they really are all the same. The fundamental issues that they face, whether it's shelter, whether it's heat, whether it's food, are the same in every community. And I think that we certainly can see that by working together, we can be much more successful at meeting the needs of everyone. I think part of it is we have such a great staff that's so well integrated into the community, and they're perceptive writers, and they see the issues and they see what's important to folks. But we look at issues and say, how can we cover this? How can we make people comprehend what the issues are, and how can we make people identify with the situations that their friends and neighbors are facing?
Well, both of these organizations, the Seacoast Mission and the Islander, there are great similarities because they're both involved in creating the fabric of the community.
It's about what people need, it's about what people want, it's about people's lives. And we try to do that each and every week. And I know the mission has a great affinity for the people of Down East Maine. And certainly the Islander has a great affinity for the people of Mount Desert Island. I like to say our readers are our stockholders, and they buy a share of stock in us every Thursday. Alan knows on a fundamental basis that content sells newspapers, and that's a rarity in this day and age. He's also held great esteem and respect for Russell Wiggins and for what he did for the Ellsworth American and the approach that he took to news in fact, being a real gentleman, and he's always conducted himself in that way. He's more proud of how many people he employs and the quality of his newspapers, and that takes precedent over everything, including the bottom line. Now, make no mistake, the bottom line's important, and you haven't lived until you've seen an Alan Baker spreadsheet written by hand on a yellow legal pad. But I think that the dedication to the community is a rarity in these days, and I think it's important, and I think it's fundamental to the success of both newspapers.
One of the many things I love about Alan is his continued commitment to thinking about how can we make the newspaper industry better. And also, he's made a huge commitment to the community by keeping the newspaper production right there and keeping those jobs. Earl has to be one of the most interesting men alive, whether he's hiking, maple sugaring, publishing a book about collectible postcards. He's living the Mount Desert dream. We're so appreciative of everything that he does to support the entire newspaper industry throughout the state of Maine.
I think the award you're giving to Alan and Earl is just fantastic. As we all know, MDI is a place of great community, and those two and their newspaper are clearly a very important part of it. Local papers really exemplify community. Alan, you had the vision to get the Islanders started, to make it and the Ellsworth American continue to be such important pieces of the community, both on MDI and in all of Hancock County. And as for Earl, for a guy from away to come to MDI and to embrace that community the way he has, and for the community to embrace him back, really says just a whole lot about the kind of talent he has and the kind of person he is.
I'm Bill Green, and it's my pleasure to offer my congratulations to Earl Brechlin and Alan Baker on winning the Sunbeam Award. Just like the Sunbeam is a missionary boat getting out there doing important work, I think that's fair to say about the careers of Earl and Alan. And it's a pleasure to offer my congratulations. Keep up the good work down east. It's always a pleasure to see you when we're down there.
And once again, it's with great pleasure that I introduce the winners of the 2017 Sunbeam Awards, Alan Baker and Earl Brechlin.